Hi everybody, this is Angelarts. Look who I stumbled into his realm. I went into his turf. This is my buddy Shay. Many of you have probably seen him on my channel in a number of different things. I'll probably be posting a bunch of links of that. But we've known each other for several years now. This is actually our first time being together in person in the same room together here in the Toronto area in Canada. And so we figured, hey, since we're together, why don't we do some collaboration? And so what we're going to be doing is, well, on my channel, I'm going to call it Q&A with Shay. Nice. Q&A with Shay. And a bunch of you have asked us questions to ask each other. And many of them are, I think what we're going to do is we're going to split this up into two different parts. So half of the Q&A with Shay is going to be on Shay's channel, probably mostly video game related stuff, and then a lot more of the questions that could be tabletop, could be non-video game related stuff. Maybe there's a few other video gamer stuff that didn't make it on his side of the channel. But anyway, if you want to see the full content of the question and answers, be sure to watch both of the parts in both of our channels. Adam, who by the way is playing a character on my current campaign that is a mix of Link, Mario, Pikachu, Kirby, and Sonic the Hedgehog, believe it or not. Just jam them all into one character. All the nice. Yeah. So he said, since I'll be repping Lonic, is the name of the character, in Athenaeum fairly soon, how about a flurry of questions based on his game inspirations? So we'll try to go through this, I think, relatively quickly. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of Sonic characters now, some good, some bad. Which one is each of your favorites?
I mean, here's confession. I've played, I think, one Sonic game, and I don't even know the version of it. I don't even know what I played. I might have been it was good-ish graphics, but I felt like back in the day, my memory of Sega games is that they were really good quality.
Like, yeah, for their time, especially.
Relative to the other consoles out there, I felt like Sonic was like a round character. Yeah. The way it flowed and the speed of all the gameplay, that stood out to me. I think it was the first game, but I don't remember anything else.
So would Sonic just be your character?
Yeah, I think Sonic. Yeah, I mean, I know of Knuckles, I know of some of the characters, but I don't know about their lore.
I admit, I only played the first two Sonic games. So really, even then, I feel like I know Knuckles, I know Bass, I think is the black one. Mm-hmm. So, and then there's the girl who's pink, because of course she's the girl, so obviously she's pink. That always kind of bothered me. She's the girl, let's make her pink. I always liked Tails. I just always thought Tails was fun. He can fly. In the cartoon, I loved his character in the cartoon. He had such an adorable voice. Tails was always my boy, hands down. Do you want to ask the next question?
Sure, we got Legend of Zelda. So what is your favorite item from the entire franchise?
Oh my gosh. Do you want to go first?
Because mine's going to be easy again. Do I have a confession to make?
Oh, no, you haven't played as many of the...
I have never played a Zelda.
Really?
No, not a single one.
Not a single one?
No.
Wow.
That's harsh. Yeah, that's harsh.
Oh my gosh.
I think I need to catch up on this one. Yeah.
Okay.
Because some people talk about it. I mean, a flute. I know of a flute. I know of a surfboard. Lately, I know that there's a shield.
Okay, there's a shield.
I've done surfing-ish things, so
fair enough.
Shit on that one.
Fair enough. I played a bunch of them. I haven't really played them since the N64 one, and I know there's been a lot since N64 one. So I'm gonna have to say that my favorite. There's just something appealing about a boomerang, because it's just so useful. It's not only are you able to use it to attack or stun enemies, but you can also use it to grab rupees and other items from across the room and just bring it back to you. So yeah, but I guess if I were to cheat and give a more even more use, I guess it's even more useful, is the empty bottle. Because you can put a fairy in it, you can put bees in it, you can put different kind of potions. Blue, red, green,
versatile.
It's super versatile. So just never underestimate milk.
An empty vessel.
Yeah, I think there's the one you can put milk in it, because that also, like the ranch, you can even get milk from it. So that's it's either the bottle or the boomerang, but I feel like a boomerang just in general is just more fun.
Nice. Have you actually tried a boomerang in your life? Have you thrown?
I have. I don't remember if I actually was able to get it to work.
Yeah. Okay.
But I have thrown one.
Okay.
I think
they
I need
seem
more
to
practice.
almost do what they're supposed to do, but it's like, is it me? Or is this
Yeah.
bent wrong? Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird because I think you have to, when you throw it, you're actually supposed to throw it
Do you have to put
vertically. Like,
Okay.
you don't throw it like a frisbee. I think you're supposed to throw it like this, is where my
That's
understanding.
Okay.
If from what I can remember. I'm sure people in the comments will correct me if I'm totally wrong. Maybe that's why you haven't been
45 degrees.
That's-
I don't know. I was just waving at
That's why it didn't work, because you're holding it wrong.
That's what you said. That's
So the
sorry,
Kirby,
what the
Adam's.
Can I go over here?
No. The Kirby question is, if you could literally eat anything. Oh, yeah.
Is Kirby on this one? No, but Sonic was.
Sonic is in there.
Strangely enough.
Hubert is in there
Hubert
too.
in there. Oh, yeah.
And that's super cool.
Frogger. Anyways.
Frogger. If you could eat from Kirby, if you
this is a
could
fun
eat literally
And
anything
disgusting animal.
like Kirby, what otherwise inedible thing would you chow down on first?
Otherwise inedible, though. That's the twister. I mean,
Yeah.
because you'd have to what are the qualifiers? Like, what do you? It's got to be scent, right? Oh, texture. Like just maybe the texture.
That's
of,
true.
Of
Like, I always want to know what that would. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would. I'm gonna go with a post campfire log.
Mm-hmm.
I just eat campfire logs. I like the smell of burning wood so much. If I could eat the burning wood while it was still on fire,
Interesting.
that would even be
Interesting.
more acceptable to me.
So I was definitely as that kid who always wanted to eat the paste. Because the paste just looked the texture just seemed really cool, and it smelled appetizing.
Wait, what paste are we talking about?
Like paste when you're a little kindergarten, and you have the little paste from.
Is that like Canadian and American?
Do you not
glue?
have paste?
We're talking about glue.
Yeah, it's glue. It's glue, but it's
Is
not
it just me.
But it's a paste. It's not it's not liquid. It's more
Okay.
like a paste.
Okay.
But they have this.
It's in a container, but
It's in a container,
with a
but you use
popsicle stick.
Yeah, exactly.
I did use that.
To
I don't remember ever
place
calling it
things.
paste.
What do you call it?
I just
in
glue.
Canada. You'd call it glue?
I think it's just glue.
Interesting. But you do have, but paste is a thing.
It definitely looked like yogurt. Yeah.
But paste is a thing,
Yeah,
though.
it's a paste.
But it's not necessarily associated with the adhesive. Interesting.
Because I'm
I learned
is it paste
something
like drywall paste, like they cover the holes in drywall? Is it paste?
It's like
Yeah,
Elmer's paste.
Yeah, no.
Which, glue I think is easier to use than putting paste on. But yeah, I think at least when I was a kid, the paste was notorious for a lot of kids really wanted to eat it, and I was one of those kids.
I'm certain I knew kids that ate it.
Mm-hmm.
I might have been one of them.
But my actual answer is I would really love to eat scented candles, and this is
I thought you
why.
were going to say centipedes. I was like, oh,
No,
God.
scented candles, because they come in so many different flavors.
Yeah.
Because you can have like the vanilla scented pumpkin spice, but then you also have like lavender. You can have whatever you call it, like freshly made laundry. That's laundry.
You know what my
fresh
candles smell
laundry.
like? What was I get?
Yeah,
Campfires.
campfires. There you go. There's like toasted marshmallow candles, but it's like, and people are like, well, why don't you just eat the real thing? Well, I'll tell you why we don't eat the real thing, because candles don't spoil. They last long. I could just hoard a whole bunch of candles, and I want to have toasted marshmallows. Here's a toasted marshmallow candle. I can just eat it whenever. Genius, right?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It's like it's apocalypse where you're gonna survive that.
There's so many different scented candles out there of so many different flavors. I could probably make my own. They have do-it-yourself DIYs.
I've watched some of those videos.
Of making.
My car could probably make these.
Yeah.
I actually that wasn't even a joke. I think I watched one and I was like, I think Harp can make these candles.
I would stop. That's funny. I would stop making ice cream to make candles that I would eat.
They're both edible in this world,
and I like to believe that they probably are not assuming that I actually can consume them. They probably are low in sugar and cholesterol.
Why would they have cholesterol?
Right. They probably are not bad for you if I can actually eat and digest them.
You can make some carbon into them.
See,
so that you can just work it all through the system.
Right. See,
take out all the toxins,
activated part.
Yeah, there you go.
See, there you go. That's my answer.
I don't think that was as short as we intended it.
Well, thank you, Adam.
Okay, we got a Pokemon question here. So, what unevolved Pokemon can evolve but is still in the first stage? What were you the most in real life to have near you? This one is an absolute easy one for me.
What would that be?
Charmander. I don't want no lizard.
You don't like fire? What's lit fire?
I mean, if the tail wasn't lit, he's gonna come on the couch. He's gonna burn the whole house.
Yeah.
I mean, like you can't have him on your pet. You can't stroke him. You're gonna.
That's true.
Like Jesus.
Yeah. No, I have to go with you there because any Pokemon that has an open flame on that,
right?
And there's a bunch
Not
of them.
child safe.
Right. But just open flame right there. Like Slugma is literally a walking magma. It's like walking lava. And I think he was saying that the body of magma is like the same heat as the sun. And I'm like, how is that?
The planet would have melted.
I'm like, the planet would have melted if that was the case. So, right, pretty much any open flame.
They pump to the core of the earth. Yeah, and I mean, even the electric ones there's that sketch. You know?
Yeah.
It's just sketch.
Yeah.
I mean, you comb one of those EV.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're done. You're electrocuted.
I know. That's
it's
true.
like putting a fork in it. Well, no, that was
that's pretty much
I don't want to think about orifices and EVs.
The final question in Adam's Lonic tour de la Lonic is, for Super Mario, which Mario character would you be most excited to go golfing with?
So interesting twist. I mean, for me, I think I have a sort of love relationship with Luigi.
I love Luigi.
Yeah, Luigi's been my dude since the beginning. He was always the green. My brother would always take red, and and I knew that they were brothers eventually, and then I just like, oh, he's a brother no one cares about, And I was like, I gotta be the one that cares about Luigi my whole life. Yeah. So like Mario 2, like any time there's Luigi, I can play Luigi. Golf, like any of the sport games, it's Luigi.
I actually
racing.
So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this isn't my answer, but since you mentioned Luigi, I always had a huge soft spot for Waluigi because I thought of all of the characters, Waluigi was the one that nobody seemed to be really all that interested in.
Because he's evil, isn't he?
He is,
or crazy.
But so is Wario. But so is Wario. But I don't know. Whenever I play like any of the games that has Waluigi in it, I always go for Waluigi. Okay. Because he's just.
I mean, I honestly didn't even know if they made that Waluigi. That's how little he seems to matter. He matters even less than Luigi.
But
imagine that.
Does.
You take Luigi,
that's why I was rooting for him.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I rooted for the underdogs. But the actual answer, I didn't like. He wouldn't be my favorite person to play golf with. I really love Toad.
Yeah,
Toad is my boy. I always loved Toad, and I thought if there's any character that I would just want to hang out with, it would be Toad.
Yeah,
Toad just seems so fun.
Yeah.
These are all tabletop related questions.
Okay.
And Roma specifically said on the Discord server, you must answer the final question. She said she would never forgive us if we don't answer the final question. So we'll get to the final question.
Yeah.
But do you want to start us off with the...
Yeah, so what are some of your most memorable fun moments as DMs or GMs?
So I made a full video about this, so I won't get into too much detail about it because I can just put the link in the video and not take up too much time. But really, my favorite moments are the emotional ones. Mm-hmm. The emotional moments when people really get deeply, like it. The way that the scene opens and closes is just like, this is like, I don't know. When they happen, I'm like, this is why I love tabletop. Yeah. This is why I love GMing, is for moments like this. So I'll put a link in the bottom about my top 10 favorite emotional moments as a GM. And I also made a video for my top 10 tabletop moments in general. Mm-hmm. So I'll add that in. How about you?
Yeah, you have the luxury of having all of this on YouTube and stuff. Mine would be, so in the early days, I ran a lot of Ravenloft campaigns. Mm-hmm. And the way I ran Ravenloft campaigns is the lights would come down. It's Gothic horror setting. And we would use candle, like it would be gaming to candlelight sort of thing. I'd have mood music on, like atmospheric stuff from, I'd just buy CDs with like these just atmospheric music. And I remember that really did set the mood for the players. Like there were high tense moments. Ravenloft is all about building tension in the gamers, them not trusting anything, and then seeing that come out in the physical world, the real world. Like the players are starting to get nervous for their characters and for the scene. And in my head, I know that it's going to be nothing, you know. But the fact that they work themselves up, and I get to witness that as a DM, that would probably be like. Not that I like to give that kind of pain, like create that kind of terror in people, but it's not about it being. It's kind of similar to your whole thing, right? It's like it's evoking emotions in the game that are expressed from the real world into the game, and there's like a merger of those two identities, the real one and the character, and that fascinates me.
Awesome. What about one of your most fun or memorable moments as players?
Yeah. Oh man. So I just talked about this one with a couple. People on my channel, and there was one memory I had for a character called Joshua Coyote. He's a character that I played in the Mass Effect series as well for the Let's Plays, and there's one memorable scene I had in there. He's a bounty hunter. The setting was a fantasy setting where it was kind of like if you mixed Cowboy Bebop with I don't know, Firefly or something, or Farscape, and Dungeons and Dragons, and he was a gun fu monk bounty hunter kind of guy. So
I love it.
So I knew I had like dodging, evasion, like I had like the D&D, the typical things that allow you to dodge things. And we were in this campaign, in case to keep this short, we were in this mission for just to take this thing out, and it was only two of us going into this ordeal, and there was we were in a hallway, and from a design perspective, the hallway was gunfire coming down the hallway, and we had us getting through that hallway, we were going to get destroyed. But I was me and this healer, or cleric. It wasn't really cleric because it's sci-fi world, but in my head I was like, he's got to have slots left, like he's going to be able to heal me. I can pull a maneuver here. I think I can take these guys out, but I'm going to go down. Like in my head I was like, I'm probably going to go down. So I grabbed all his grenades, and I said, I hope you have healing slots left. Like not in that way, right? Whatever the way it was set in the world. I hope you have healing slots left. And I just bolted down the hallway because I had the movement, I had the evasion, so they would shoot at me. And all I wanted to do was make sure that I got through the doorway and into the room where these four heavily armored guards were. And then I pulled all the pin on one of the grenades, but it was a belt of grenades, so all of them would go off, all the damage would go off, and I was just thinking, I hope the monk levels kick in, right? I hope the thief levels kick in. I hope I can evade most of this. But if I go down, the guy will heal me. So, of course, the scene ends up with the entire room getting fried. I did go down, and I'm kind of struggling to stay up. Yeah. And he comes rushing in with his character after. Yeah. And and I'm like, did I get them all? And he says, yeah, but you almost got yourself too, right? And I'm like, well, thankfully, like, you're here to get me. I forget how it was worded, but thankfully you're here to heal. Thankfully you had healing slots. It's like, yeah, no, I didn't. And so he's like injecting like med packs or whatever. He wants to like get me like to zero. And then with the character, I remember like the way this played out was like, but did I get them all? Yeah. Right. Okay, I call into the money, right? Like get the money. And it was just the way the scene played out was just so much about the character, kind of like putting him into that sacrificial, because he didn't want to lose the cleric. Because for him, it was like he'd rather put himself in danger, even if it meant, but he had a plan, but the plan didn't go right. But it was just there was an RP exchange that happened there that just felt like it was so perfect, when I wrote it down, it made a lot more sense than when I try to explain it now. But it was basically like he was only thinking about, did you survive? Are you okay? Great. Okay, call for the money, And then the scene kind of ended, and that kind of made the character for me, and that's why I carry him into other Let's Plays. He's a maniac, but he does it for his team. He's for the squad first.
So for me, there's some backstory to this. So my very first experience in tabletop gaming was D&T 3.0. It was in college, and I lived with 5 other guys in this apartment together. So 6 of us all in one, and 2 of them were already into D&D and wanted to teach the other 4 of us how to play. Nice. And we would try to play weekly games, which was very convenient because we lived with each other. And so their style of D&D was more like let's do combat after combat after combat with, there's a story, but it's not really the important thing. Yeah. So for the longest time, for the next few years, I thought that's what D&D was. Oh, okay. It was just combat after combat. It's like, okay, this is fun. I love building a character. I like using them to fight things. But then I had my very first story GM, and I will always thank him for this, because if it weren't for him, I probably would not be GMing games now, because he just opened my eyes to an amazing world where story was the main reason why we were playing. And I was like, this is like totally different way of going about, and a totally legitimate. The other way is totally legitimate too. But I was like, this is awesome. And so the favorite moment happened was I was playing a female elf mage, and this other player was the rogue, and he was more of like the leader or like the spokesperson of the group. And my character actually came in a little later because their campaign had been running for several sessions, and I came in a little bit in between. And our characters were kind of like rivals of each other. Like we always like were bickering constantly. I was pretty convinced that we just were never going to get along, but it's okay. Like when it mattered, when we were in a fight, we were there to like, we were at each other's backs, right? So we still had that dynamic. And then there were these moments when we needed something done. I clearly, as the mage, for example, was the right choice to go do something, but it was like risky. Like I was putting myself in possible danger, but my character didn't care. Like she's like, no, I'm going to do this. And he always tried to shut that idea down. He's like, no, you can't go. And this happened like 2 or 3 times. Like the first time, my character kind of let it go, but then it kept happening. And she finally like got so frustrated with him. It's like, why do you keep doing this? Like, do you not think I can take care of myself? Like, do you really, is it because, you know, you don't think I'm capable, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, no, it's not like that. It's not like that. It's like, why? Like, I don't understand. And then his character, there was like this silence between the two of our characters. And I think this is totally unplanned. We had no discussion about this prior to it. I was like looking at him, like the player, and he was looking at me. And I think our gears were turning. And I know in that moment, both of us had this realization, and we're like, oh my God, do our characters love each other? Did our characters fall in love with each other? Is that why they've been bickering?
Oh, geez.
And like we totally, again, without any discussion, my character was like, I said, do you have feelings for me? And the way that he like didn't answer the question, I was like, oh man, like, are we going out of character? I was like, are we going down this route? Like, this is kind of interesting, as I've never had that experience before, and I had no idea how he was comfortable with it, because he was a straight guy, and I was a gay man who happened to be playing a female, and so like we had a really amazing conversation about us characters eventually, basically admitting that we actually liked each other.
That's cool.
And what was really interesting, what made it a little awkward, is that we were playing at his house, and he was married to his wife, and his wife like was in the background, like in the kitchen, like cooking things. And so here it is, our characters are like falling in love with each other. Meanwhile, there's his wife, and so I felt really like awkward about it. But the funny thing is, after our sessions, his wife would be like, so how are you? How is your character and Celeste? Like, are they getting along? Like, she was super invested in she was shipping us hard. She was like, you guys are doing okay. I thought
this was before pre-shipping.
Right. She was shipping us hard. I was like, that is so amazingly awesome. And eventually, she did get pregnant. They had like a baby shower and everything, like in-game baby shower, which is super fun. I was like, I never thought I would date a DM where I had a baby shower. So that was cool. And I think I appreciated what my GM did, because out of character, which is another thing that you should be doing in a tabletop campaign, out of character, I talked to my DM privately, and I said, look, it doesn't make sense for my character to continue adventuring while she's pregnant with our child, but I still want to play as her. Like, is there a way we could solve this so my character can still continue playing, but have it make sense why she would still put herself in danger knowing that she's still pregnant with this child? And so he came up with a ritual which basically allowed me to temporarily transfer my unborn child into a surrogate, into another surrogate character, so that's
magic.
Right, so it's magic. So I'm like, that's genius. That's perfect. So even if something happened to me, like he, as in the dad, the father, wasn't worrying that something would happen to the kid at least. So that was that entire like arc
That's awesome.
was just definitely my most memorable tabletop moment as a
I mean, that was a journey, because that was over how much time, like in the real world?
In real world time?
Yeah, because that feels like an arc. Like
I mean,
you know,
I would probably say we probably played for like 10 sessions.
Yeah,
10 sessions.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe a dozen. So
cool.
Before the campaign ended, that was super fun.
Yeah.
So Roma asks, what are some of your strategies for planning new campaigns? I'm curious about this.
Yeah. So I like to think of each character as having three arcs or 3 parts, and so I try to figure those out in the simplest way possible, because I like to give myself flexibility for whatever I hear from the other characters. Of course, what I have planned for the main arc of the campaign, but then I try to slot the character arc into the arc of the campaign. So I do have an idea in mind for how many sessions it would take for the main arc to play out, and then I would ask the character, or the player, how long they want their arc to go, that kind of thing, to see, do you want this to be like a multi-season development, or do you want to just have it develop and then we'll see what happens after that, right? Because that might trigger other things. But it is character first, character arcs, and I really like to focus on making sure that a character arc is in progress. I feel like that's what allows a player to stay committed. And what's it called? Oh God, what's the word? What's the word for connected? Invested in the character. Just a long term, because some of these games, they go long, and especially if you do the long sessions, you have a group that works well together. They play a long time together. They're going to help that stuff develop, and it'll go somewhere that's a little bit more richer. So, character first.
So I'm a very visual person. And so what I love to do is, at the very beginning, I put every character's name on a piece of paper, basically around the edges of this piece of paper. And then I draw lines that connects them. So it'd be like, this person's dad killed this person's mom, or this person is actually surprise, this person is actually their long lost cousin, or blah blah blah. I try to find ways that connect all of these characters in some way. This person is supposed to have a bounty placed on their head because of this character, stuff like that, or this character's boss or whatever. So I draw all these lines so that I can introduce these, because these come into play. As many viewers realize with my campaigns, I always have something that I call origin stories.
Yeah.
So this is what I use as a tool to figure out what the origin stories are, because that for me is what I spend the most time at the beginning, is how do these characters end up together, and what were they doing before this adventure started? Because for me, it's really important to establish in role playing not only the history, but also how do they interact with their NPCs? Because they create NPCs, I have to get a feeling for how do these relationships with these NPCs work? How do they talk to each other?
Right.
How do they interact with each other? And the only way I can do that is by role-playing with them in their origin story. So I like that I have a chance to work with each character one-on-one.
Right.
And then find some creative way for them to start to cross and meet. And most of the times, during the origin stories, they'll meet at some point in their past, and then they separate, and then all of a sudden they meet again right when the adventure starts. So that's probably the biggest thing that I do that might be unique to many GMs, is just setting up those origin stories.
So you know what I used to do for Ravenloft, and it was specific to Ravenloft because it was part of the lore itself. Because of Gothic horror, they had these gypsy troops that would wander around the mist, and called Vistani, and they would read cards. They had tarot decks. And so I bought a box set that basically walked through how to pull out these tarot decks and read them. And so I studied the hell out of that. And every start of it's at the start of the game and at the middle point, where it feels like we've already hit most of the beats. They'd run across another, Vistani caravan, and then it's, do you want your fortunes read? And I would do the tower format, and it would just be, they would be open to it. It's just whatever the cards, because it gave some flexibility, right? I don't have to twist these cards to make them match what the characters wanted. The characters are going good or bad, Let's just give the signals. And then it was all prophecy-esque, so it wasn't something's going to happen. It's that these symbols are in your past, and then what do these symbols mean? So it becomes a bit of a puzzle for the character to also reveal and investigate while they're playing the game. So they're not like, when do I get to that part that I told the DM about, you know? They just think about the sword and the stone or something like that. Like, that was a weird example because it's King Arthur, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just some combination of symbols, and then what do those symbols mean?
Sure.
Yeah. There you go.
Nice. Awesome. And then this is the question that
we cannot ignore.
That we cannot ignore, because Roma would never forget us if we did. I feel like it's more targeted towards me, but if you want to answer the question,
I'm probably gonna just nudge you with some stuff while you go.
Okay,
I'll feed you with my perspective, but this is definitely, I'm gonna blame him if he can't do it.
So this is more for those of you who have been following my tabletop campaigns through the years. Is in a cage match, free for all to the death.
Oh man,
who do you think would win among the casts? Which I'm gonna, for right now, limit it to the PCs, all the PCs of Hark's campaigns, either as a team or as individuals. In that same vein, who would be the first to die? So to make this easier, we're gonna say that they're fighting as teams. So like
season parties.
Right, exactly. So I have to answer, or we have to answer, which one do we think would win at the end, which team would be the last one standing, and which team would go down first. So, trying to go in order as they were presented on my channel, we've got Dragonate Season 1, who are, I think they are pretty much like, set the baseline, set that mid baseline, because they're powerful by the end. They've got these artifacts which give them a lot of abilities, but I think I wouldn't necessarily, in my gut, say that they would be the ones on top is group dynamics wise. There's a bit of animosity between Maximillian and Gwenail, and I think that'll probably hurt their teamwork ultimately compared to some of the other PC casts who might have a little bit more cohesive teamwork. Feel free to jump in whenever you want.
That's a good one. I wouldn't put them at the top either, so far so good.
Okay.
Yep.
Mass Effect Season 1. And I'll limit this again to the main cast because there were like 4 different casts or something ridiculous.
And variants.
That was known as the year when Park didn't know how to say no. So we had 4 casts. They have very diverse abilities. But again, I would place them somewhere in the middle. 2, I think, unless you disagree.
It's your first one.
My first season. So we've got like...
Yeah, they would be middle-ish.
Yeah, middle-ish, I would say, somewhere in there.
Yeah, and they had good dynamics together.
They did.
From a combat perspective, like, if it were to, like, they had a good relationship. Like, I don't know.
They did.
You know, like, socially, they were an awesome cast.
They were awesome socially, yes.
But then I don't know, as a fight, like,
as fighting
from a coordinated fight to the death.
Coordinated fight to death.
Alignment?
Yeah, that would be kind of...
Sorry.
Yeah, I'd put them more in the middle. They're very powerful, but I would still put them in the middle. Then we have Dragonate Season 2. Now, here's where things get really interesting.
That's right.
Because that group, and I'm going to include, again, just letting you know, I might put in spoilers.
That's fair.
I'm going to include Halasair in the mix, because they're actually a part of the PCs.
Yep.
Very good as a team.
Yeah.
They great teamwork. Their abilities as in controlling like the elements, nature itself, definitely I think makes them above average. Because especially by the end when they had like avatar powers and things like that, and they have a lot of influence. Like one of them pretty much has the entire like Antivan Crows under her finger. You know, another one is like the lead Templar. So, I mean, experience-wise, even they're very tight. And then, like even Kenna, like one of them can pretty much like summon a sphere of annihilation. I mean, like, it's ridiculous. They're crazy powerful. So I would definitely put them like in the higher tier, in a fight. You pretty much seem to be agree.
Yes.
Okay. Then after that, I think was Pokemon. Was it Pokemon after that?
Yep.
And that's where you come in. So what do you think? I'll let you drive.
We win.
You win. Okay, you would win. Okay.
No. I don't know, but I think again with the powers that got unlocked for the team, if we could tap into those powers, I think that the team has, from a team dynamic perspective, those powers only work from a team. Like you have to plan as a team.
Yeah.
And so it did. There's. I think that's what's different in that regard.
Yeah.
But I don't know if do we include our Pokemon? Because
I think we do.
Pokemon, then
I would say because you guys are with you and your Pokemon are the main.
That's that makes it a bit more complex to kind of work out and break down. By the end of the campaign, I think we had some pretty. I mean, the Pokemon got some powerful moves.
They do.
I mean, them alone would be a danger, I think.
Yes.
So, but I don't want to be biased here about where I think we would fall. I think from a team dynamic in battle, I mean, we had some pretty decent chemistry on the field, but I still don't feel like it was completely cohesive.
The group dynamics, I agree.
So I think that under pressure, and to the death,
I feel like
that would be it'd break down a little bit. I think
I have to agree with that too. Cool. All right. Yeah. Well, thanks for your honest assessment of your own part of your own team. After that, I believe was Mass Effect Season 2. I believe.
Season 2.
Yeah, and so again,
yeah.
Well, see, the thing with that is Nathan was clearly like the powerhouse. He was crazy powerful. But the other three, they were really not designed for combat necessarily. They were more designed for gimmick. Had a really cool gimmick, and
yeah.
They all were excellent from a story perspective, but when it comes to like fighting to the death, like it would pretty much be Nathan, and they would be supporting him.
He would be overwhelmed.
He would probably be overwhelmed, unfortunately,
and he'd want to protect his crew,
right?
And so his actions would be compromised.
That's true, because he's constantly trying.
He's not just offense; he's going to be
doing defense. Yeah, exactly. So I see them, if not mid, maybe lower, just because. Purely combative standpoint, offensive standpoint, like I don't think them as a group are able to keep up with some of the mids. So they're a little bit below.
Probably.
I would say probably. Sorry, Season 2. Sorry, Season 2. Blame Roma. The truth is out. Finally.
I mean, below Dragonate Season 1. Probably.
This is why I said like my campaigns are not always about combat, and if my campaigns aren't always about combat, you're not going to necessarily be min-maxing.
The battle royale doesn't go well for
the
story leading characters. Groups.
Exactly. Then we have Harry Potter. Now, this is where things get really interesting. Because, I mean, magic is magic. Magic is powerful. And they know Avada Kedavra Maximum, which is like, basically, I kill everyone in the room. I mean, just kill everyone in the room. So that's where that gets really interesting. So I'm like, So this is where I definitely put them at the top, even above Dragonate Season 2. Like somewhere, I'm not saying yet that I'm not locking them in as the winners.
Okay.
But I'm putting them near the top simply for the fact that if they have to fight to the death, why are they going to beat around the bush? Why are they going to bother doing anything but cast Avada Kedavra Maximum
every round?
Why do anything else?
Them's the rules.
Just I have to kill everyone in the room. I'm going to kill everyone in the room. So that's where I'm like. Now, granted, it's really hard to cast that spell. You're not guaranteed to cast it. But if all of them can possibly cast it, I mean...
The odds go up in their favor.
The odds are definitely in their favor if it really came down to... Yeah, so that's where I'm putting them. I'm putting them as a candidate for winning. But we'll get to that. Then we get to Dragonate Season 3. Okay. So you got wizards who have a spell that can kill everything in the room. But by the end of Dragonate Season 3, all of the PCs are gods.
Yeah.
They're literal gods. Now, granted, they're limited in their power by their domains. So they're not like, I sort of see them more like the Greek or Roman gods. Like they have their realm. Zeus can only do so much, Neptune can only do so much, and Minerva can, like, all those gods can only do so much within their domain.
Right.
So like even if I were to pit them against Dragonate Season 2, Dragonate Season 2 would always win if in like a purely elemental fight, because like any of the Dragonade Season 3 characters would not be able to manipulate nature nearly as well, like fire, wind, water, and aether nearly as well as the Dragonade Season 2 character, because that's their domain. So I think that we have to now get into the mechanics of, does Avada Kedavra work on gods? Like, does the Avada Kedavra spell work on gods? I don't know. I haven't really decided. I never really thought about that. So even though we did have a crossover, we had a crossover with them. Or no, we don't have a crossover with them. Well, we're gonna have to find out. We might have to find that out.
So are they officially immortal? Would be that, or now? If they got in a fight, would they? If they went down mechanically, meta wise, would they actually be down?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have to think about that. I haven't decided yet. So that's a good question
for season 10.
Wait, season 10, yeah. So definitely Dragonate Season 3 is from a combat standpoint, probably above Dragonate Season 2 in the end, because they are gods and they are very much, for the most part, immortal, but they can still die. They still have hit points, you know. So I mean, I guess the question then becomes, is the group dynamics of Season 3 cast, if we're just purely comparing Season 2 and Season 3, the group dynamics of Season 3 was also really good. I feel like in terms of strategy and just combat knowledge, I feel like Season 2 has a slight edge in that. Yeah. So it's like a Batman versus Superman situation.
I feel like a Season 2 is my gut feeling.
That you feel Season 2 might be able to take out. All right. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I think they have more team dynamics that shown on screen, like just shown in play. They will come together and maximize their what they contribute to the fight. Yeah, I've seen them do it better.
I can see that. I think
now they have the years behind them, and
they do. They have more experience.
They have years behind them. Like, even if they don't bring all their help, like, you know, that's not fair either, because then Pokemon will just bring 6 Pokemon each, and everyone's screwed. I'm sorry. So so we'll bring the God Pokemon. Let's go. Let's play.
And to be fair, it's like in Avatar where they had different versions of themselves through history. Like Cedric as the Head Thief Guardian of Air, he's had different versions of Guardian of Air before him. So he technically has somewhere ingrained in his being all that other experience. Yeah. So, no, I see. Yeah, it's somewhere. Yeah, the two of them, it's kind of a concept.
Always wins.
That's the experience. It's a sheer power versus experience. So, yeah, we'll come back to that. And then after Dragonate Season 3, we come to the Athenaeum campaign. So here is where I'm going to now say, if I had to pick one that I think was going to go down first, it would be Athenaeum. And the only reason I say that is because they haven't reached the end of the campaign yet. They're not at their maximum level yet.
Right.
They're still at like level. It's GURP, so they don't have a level. But their experience overall is less than all the other, because they haven't finished their campaign yet. So that's one reason.
That might be your easy way out, though, if you're going to say they're going to go down.
But even
because they're not done yet.
Even if I were to hypothetically put them at where they would be at the end of the campaign, I will still say that they're the ones that are going to go down first. And the reason I say that is because their story is designed to be a story campaign. Their campaign, I would say, has the least amount of combat than any other campaign. And I told them that at the beginning. I said, this is not meant to be a combat campaign. There can be some combat, but it's... I think the world that would have the most combat would be Frankie's world. And then there's like the horror world, but in horror you're not really meant to fight the monster per se. Like normally to defeat the monster you have to find like some sort of plot device or the what do you call the thing that like conveniently can kill the monster, like the MacGuffin?
The MacGuffin, the Fiat situation.
Exactly.
Just like,
you have to find the MacGuffin. You have to find the trick. So it's not. It's less about let's do a battle royale with this thing. It's because even if you do take him down, they're not really down. They're just gonna come back up again, like Jason or Freddy Krueger or Terminator, like T-1000. Like they're still gonna come back up even if you take them down. Or Nemesis. So so that's why I'd say like they're just not combat characters. That's not what they're built for. So unfortunately, I have to say the Athenaeum campaign would go down first.
There you go. There you go.
But I think who would win? It really would be a toss-up between Dragonate Season 2 and Dragonate Season 3. I think ultimately. I was about to say ultimately Season 3, but I don't know, you're making very compelling things about Season 2. So I think just for... And
I haven't watched till the end of Season 3, so I don't know the context of how they played together, like how they fought together and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of blind in that regard.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't let you free on the whole. They're gods, so
they are gods.
I don't. I've seen enough things.
But then you've got,
there's comics. There's like gods go down.
But then there's Harry Potter and Avada Kedavra kill everything. So it's like, But then but then they have Cedric who can nullify magic. He's a paladin.
No longer immortal.
No longer right.
I don't know if they're immortal because of magic. They're gods because of magic. Nullify. You're done.
That's true. Or nullify.
If
that's an I don't know.
Or is that beyond?
It's definitely. I would probably say Harry Potter, just because magic can be nullified. Even Avada Kedavra could be hypothetically nullified if you have enough power. If you have enough power. I'm not saying that Cedric by himself has enough power, but he
does need to stay up. And if he becomes a threat, they're going to pile up on him anyways, because that's just what you do. Yeah. Take out the Cedric, and then they still have some powerhouses, but...
Yeah. A lot of it's also initiative. I mean, it kind of can pull out a Sphere of Annihilation. Like, they don't have a lot of defense. The wizards don't have as much defense as they probably could. So I think I would probably put Harry Potter as third place. This is tough. Season what? Season 2 or Season 3? You're still sticking with Season 2.
I'm going with.
I'm just gonna say Season 2. Yeah. Since this is probably not the best reason, but just because you say Season 2, I'll say Season 3, just so we can be split. I'll say Season 3. You can say Season 2. Do we agree that next would be the Harry Potter crew next?
Yeah, it's they have access to magic it's so variable that the other squads, maybe the meta builds also that have limited their class and what they're capable of. But then Harry Potter's like you got magic.
Harry Potter's like
you got magic.
Kill everyone in the room.
Take us, it's just bring your. I mean, they have devices. So do other teams can get devices too and help. But
now we just opened up a whole can of worms, and all of the
different sort of got slipped away.
Campaign
and all this, but
all of the campaign fans are just going to start a fight. So I hope you're happy, Roma. I hope you're happy.
And if we're talking about individuals, that could be that's insane.
That's
going
to be insane.
That's going to be like 100 characters.
Which one would you?
Maybe not 100, but 50 to 60 at least are going to have to be.
I would have to do.
It would have to a couple hours, and it'd be like one of those nested tables where it had to be random up front, and it's just this person against this person, right? So
I feel like I really want to do a series, a death battle series.
Jesus,
I want to do a death battle series and have me plus a representative of each group
to fight
and give debate and give their. I think that's what I should do. We can edit this out. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a tournament-based thing where we'll have each team give the reasons why they think would win over the other. Nerd battles. And then we would have the what do you call it? The roster, and then they would just
because the great thing with the roster is that you might just randomly you're putting a tough one with a weak person. Like you could do it where it's like this person is like a Chase and a Cedric, or like Chase pre That's where it gets tricky too. But like Chase, Nathan, and Cedric are effectively the same kind of character build and methodology. Like you're gonna run in, you're gonna charge, you're gonna swing, right? You're gonna try to protect those around you. So you can put those two together, and it's that debate. But if it's random,
I don't know.
Like, that's just gonna go. Oops.
I don't know.
Right? Scratch. Anyways,
favorite thing a player has said or done during a in real life session. An in real life session. Player ever said or done during a real life session. I'm trying to think because I've had a bunch of in real life sessions, and I kind of
in real life. So yeah, this it could be harder for you, right?
Yeah, because I kind of answer this question with me and that other player, like I said, with the wife in the background and our characters falling in love. So like, if I want to give a different answer, I have to think about it a little bit more.
It's okay if that overlaps. I mean,
can you answer that question?
I probably could. I have one memory that there's a couple for me. It's like mostly Ravenloft has given me a lot of just moments. And I think it's because it was the first, let's say, 5 to 10 years of gaming for me, and I was just getting into being a GM. And trying to like figure out how to wrap story around character and set mood with the candles, the music, and have everything really tight in the session, you know. And it's the moments where you could evoke emotions in characters that we already talked about. We already went through. Said or done, it was a moment with where the party got separated. This was going to another one of those stories, right? Okay. But it's not so much said as it was something that the player did for the character's sake. But it was a storyline about this thing called the Red Widow Spire, which was a lycanthrope. Like it was a woman that could transform into a murderous like large spider. You know? And so there was this village, and they were losing people. Like they were disappearing, and so they knew they were after something that was stealing people, but they didn't know if it was like a kidnapper. They didn't know. And so it was this maiden asking for help because she was losing her family, and of course then she separates the paladin, which paladins you're not supposed to have those in Ravenloft. It's already a terrible situation this guy's in, but of course he's a paladin. He wants to help this maiden, and of course I set that up because I was trying to play with those tropes. And then he was split apart because that's what the Red Widow does. She works on the party and gets them stuck in other webs, you know. Yeah, that's how I kind of treated it, you know. Okay. She set up scenarios where she'd make sure they were slowly separating, and then she took the paladin back to her den, you know. And so when he realized that it was too late, he was already in there. He was already kind of hugging her to like calm her down. Yeah. But at that point, I started explaining like that the arms that were hugging him, he could see like hair like sprouting out from her arms, and then he could feel like prickles around his his exposed skin, and he realized, oh crap, like I'm in the den. And so when he pulled her away, she had multiple eyes. She was already like in transformation mode, and he jumped out of his seat. And screamed, and he started like doing album like the emotions into his hands, like he was freaking out, like, oh my god. And so he like physically reacted with the fear that his character felt at that moment, and I had never experienced like something like that as a player before. But that's cool. So there you go. It's inciting fear in people and anxiety.
I'll answer this question with a memory that actually has to do with video games, because it was a really sweet gesture. So for one of my birthdays, and this is during a time when I hadn't been playing because I was GMing for this group of people for several years actually. So for my birthday, a group of them created this one-shot Pokemon session for me. And so the two of them, who I actually, boyfriend and girlfriend, who I actually ended up being the person who, when they get married...
Best man?
No, the person when they get married, you're the one who actually, like...
the usher?
The
person takes the thing up to the...
No, the person who actually marries them. The person up front who actually says, do you take this person? Do you... what is that called? The officiant. Thank you.
I would never have
gotten the officiant. I was their officiant eventually. But anyway, this couple, boyfriend, girlfriend, they co-GM'd a session where all of us all of the PCs were Pokemon. So I was a Pikachu, and I think there was a Charmander and a Bulbasaur and a Squirtle, because of course there was. And so the four of us, they put us into this really fun Pokemon adventure. This is long before the Pokemon Spectrum campaign. And I loved it. It was such a sweet thing for them to do as a birthday gift. And I was like, this is one of the most creative birthday gifts that
that's cool.
Because it takes time to not only create the session, but actually run the session. So I felt very touched. Very touched by that.
Yeah.
You want to give this one?
Oh, for sure. So if you could do some wibbly wobbly time stuff and talk to yourself at the early parts of Spectrum, what would you say to yourself? Learn more Pokemon.
Learn more Pokemon.
I was learning very rapidly, as much as I could. I started playing Leaf Green, which helped out. What would I tell myself though? I don't know. I don't know what I, because I feel like, if I were to I mean, I was kind of joking up front, like learn more Pokemon, but I mean, I literally couldn't learn any faster. Look at us, right? So I don't know.
I know what I would have told myself at the beginning of Spectrum. And this is more of a GM thing. I would have told we talked about this privately off camera, is ask for feedback from your players early and more often. Because I think that's been one of the things I've been trying to improve as a GM for several campaigns, actually, was to I try to ask for feedback just in general. If you guys ever have feedback, let me know if you ever do. But I feel like I need to do that directly with people, and maybe even individually one-on-one. Hey, can you give me feedback on how things are going to campaign? Because I feel like if I had done that, then I think overall the players of Pokemon campaign overall would have had more fun. Would have had more fun during the campaign. Yeah. So I don't know if you still can't think of another. I stalled for you.
Yeah, you did. It would come down to, I mean, we had such a flexible. I mean, here's the thing. If we're talking about time wibbly wobbly stuff, and I knew how the campaign was going to end. I knew that there was going to be that climax where the ending for at least Chase, from my perspective, I was winging it for the most part. And the way I was winging stuff for Chase is that I was trying to preemptively think about what Hark might have been planning from a macro scale.
I might have been playing.
So at a macro scale. So I was saying, like, years down the line, I was like, what's Hark doing here? This is like Harkiverse. For me, it was a Harkiverse. And I'm like, I wanted to find a way to weave a character idea that allowed, if anything, to unlock Hark, to make him just think a little bit more outside of the campaign, because he was building a campaign multiverse. And I would have leaned into that maybe a little bit heavier earlier, instead of being like hardcore character. It was just this grounded, because I thought we were doing slice of lifey kind of stuff, and I didn't think things were going to get fantastical. And then as soon as they started going that way, I was like, okay, I'm going to lean in, because it looks like this could have an opportunity. And then here's the thing: I started learning more about Pokemon. And I realized all of the different lore that is out there that just allows for so much creativity. And that was already, all the pieces were already there for me to do all the stuff that was kind of nutso. I felt like there was the what are they, the glyphs? What is that what they call the ones with the glyphs language Pokemon?
Oh yeah,
letters.
The unknowns.
There's so much that
a lot
you could lean into. And I was like, okay, well, I would love to help seed. And not just from Hark, but like the players in the audience to think more about these campaigns outside of the space that they're in. And so I would have leaned in heavier with that, instead of going so crazy near the end, like all in one sweep.
Okay, I can see it. Yeah, I can see that.
There you go.
Cool. We have a question from Tommy, who is in the Dragonate Season 3 campaign, by the way. As he asks, if you two could visit any fictional world of a book, movie, or game series for about a week, which one would it be and why? I definitely know the answer to this question.
Okay.
Go. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
This is probably an obvious answer.
Let's see if it's like mine.
A Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Oh,
Harry Potter. I would love...
Really? Oh, yeah, okay.
Now, this is actually... I mean, I would want to stay for longer than a week. Like, if I grew up in this world as a wizard and could actually go to wizarding school, I feel like I would rather... I wouldn't want to go to Hogwarts. Because I feel like... I loved the series. But, like...
That teacher is saying that.
There was... the way that a lot of the teachers and faculty, I love McGonagall, I love Dumbledore, don't get me wrong, but I kind of disagreed with how they ran certain things. They're like, they went into the forest of, like, into the fortress. Okay, you know, I mean, they'll probably die. But and it's like, really?
You just got an failing grade for you.
So I wouldn't want to go to Hogwarts, as much as I'm sure Hogwarts is like the school to go to in the Wizarding World. I definitely would be curious what my life would have been like as a student in Ilvermorny. Which house would I have gotten sorted into? At least according to Pottermore, I would have been sorted into the Thunderbird, which I think would have been awesome. I would have wanted to stay there for more than if I could relive my life in a parallel dimension. I think being in the Wizarding World would be really fun. I know that it's also has its dangerous things, but I mean, so is this world. So
but
I mean, being able to cast magic, I think, would be a really interesting.
But I don't think the question was that you'd go into this world and you'd be able to cast magic. It's you'd be existing in this world.
Oh, as I am.
So, because I mean, if that's the case, then I would still. You're taking the danger away if you can be a mage in that world or a wizard in that world. But if you were in there, you got to see the things. Yeah, I
would still, if I was allowed to like hang out the way
so you'd be like a muggle, but you could get into the
just like in Fantastic Beasts.
Okay,
because there was that one. Okay, well, there's the one character I forgot his name, and I love him. He was definitely my favorite character in that movie, where he was the Muggle that kind of was the sidekick that just followed the wizards around, which I thought was super cool. So if I could do that, it would still be Wizarding World.
Okay. I mean, I would say, I wanted to add a caveat to this thing about would we be immortal while in this world? Like, could we die?
Could we die? Yeah,
are we visiting this world and we are actually risking the dangers of the world,
or
health? Are we? But that might be the compromise of
no pain.
Okay. Infinite hells, but you don't have health, but you don't have to.
You're invincible.
Suffer the pain.
You're
dying and then coming back to life, getting a new heart and stuff like that.
Yes.
So if that was a caveat, and then a bunch of other stuff opens up, like Final Fantasy VII is kind of neat. Not necessarily because it's so big, right? So it's like where in Final Fantasy VII. With that, I would like to go with the dog people, with the lion people. Hang out with the Reds. I just call them Reds. I forget all their names.
Yeah.
Or things like Skyrim, like a medieval setting. Of course, Hell Planescape, the city of Sigil. Like, I'd like to go to the center of the multiverse. Hell yeah, I'd be in that city.
Yeah.
It's gloomy and rainy all the time. But screw it,
If I was in Final Fantasy VII world, I would live in the Golden Saucer. The Golden Saucer is just fun.
Okay, well, that's
where I would live.
Playtime all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically like the Vegas of 7. I think it would just be really fun. I just watch all the shows, eat all the food, and, date Cloud. That would be my bucket list right there. Date Cloud. So anyway,
it's gonna lead to more derailments very quickly.
I have 1 week to meet Cloud, hang out with him, and then.
And what happens in the Golden Saucer?
What happens in the Golden Saucer stays in the Golden Saucer. Yes.
Oh my
gosh. Okay. Emily has some questions. Would you like to take Emily's question?
Maybe this has been answered. Okay, I'll skip that part. What was your first tabletop RPG campaign you played? And then how about as a DM? No, I think we've sort of stumbled on these accidentally with other questions, but
yeah,
we can recap. I can recap. So first tabletop from... Oh, no, actually, I didn't.
You didn't. So I didn't give as much detail in mine.
Yeah. Ravenloft was the first one I heavily GM'd, followed by Planescape. But Ravenloft was my thing. But played was actually Marvel Superheroes. Marvel Superheroes in 1989, 1990.
Really?
And it was... Yeah. Huh. So that was kind of my gateway into what's this tabletop stuff. And then my buddy lent me the box set for Ravenloft, the first one from 1990 or something. And I was like, what's this Gothic horror stuff? And then I'm in, buying all the products.
Yeah,
running the games.
I mentioned this earlier, but I can give a little bit more detail. But again, my first time playing tabletop was D&D 3.0 with my college roommates. There were 6 of us living in the same apartment. And I played, because first and foremost, if there was a class I had to pick, I'd be the healer. So I was a cleric. His name was Zenith Goldenborough.
Nice.
Zenith Goldenborough, and that is the name that I used in a number of my RPGs that I like. For example, my Jedi in KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, was named Zenith. My character in Neverwinter Nights was named Zenith. He was also a cleric. Okay. So there's something about that I always loved. And as I said, it was more of a dungeon crawl, like very hack and slash, very, very light story experience, which I still enjoyed because I do enjoy like number crunching, and I don't think I min-maxed my character, but I at least tried to build a character that was just fun to play. It lasted probably maybe like 7 or 8 sessions, and then our GM kind of basically it was a total team wipe. Like our team just died, and then the story just ended. And and that kind of honestly left a poor taste in my mouth. Like there was. Because I was like, I kind of wanted to know what happened at the story. Yeah. Like, I kind of wanted to see us finish the story, but like, nope, you're all dead.
That's how tabletop works.
That is how tabletop works, but I guess that is also when you're but if it's a game that it's not story driven, and it's that's like true. I don't care about the story, so even if the heroes die, you know. So that was, I mean, I think it left a little bit of a poor taste in terms of DMing. It was also, I think by that point it was, they had released D&D 3.5. It was D&D 3.5. And it was a group of my theater friends, which I'm sure that sounds like a great experience to have. This happened after I had my eyes opened from my GM, who was actually story driven and had that whole thing with my Helven character that became pregnant. But that will always have a very special spot in my heart because they were great role players. I mean, they were theater people, so they're really great role players. Yeah. And it was a large group. Like, it started off as 4, and then we picked up another player, and eventually we picked up 2 players, 6. Actually, no. There was a 7th player that only played for a couple sessions, who was...
We had it seriously was 4, and then I had 6,
and then you said 7th player. Wow, that's cool. Because the 7th one was my first DM ever. Was my first DM.
Oh my god.
Who it was? His character was the father of another character who was played by Hannah, the girl that I was telling you about. I was telling Shay because there's this girl that I became friends with. I'm prefacing by saying I met her when she was 14. She is a very pretty... this probably doesn't make it even worse. She's a very pretty red... Of course, ginger. Of course she's ginger. She's a very pretty ginger lady who is... I mean, she's a lady now. She's, married and everything. She's a tattoo artist, but she's also a model. And she I don't want to give... I won't give too much details, but anyway, I told her that ever since she started modeling, I was like, could you express your tabletop geekiness, nerdiness? And she said, oh yeah, totally. I'm going to tell everyone that I play D&D and nerd out in D&D because she wants to destroy those misconceptions or stereotypes that, somebody like her couldn't possibly be into a game like this, but she totally is, which is great. But anyway, that was super fun, and it really was what gave me the bug to continue GMing. So I figure if it was an experiment for me too, because I thought, if I suck as a GM, then I guess I'm gonna stop and not continue. But they seemed to really enjoy that campaign. I actually recycled that campaign with a different group of people, and they also really enjoyed it. And then the rest was just history. I've been GMing ever since. I think that was back in 2004, 2005. So I've been GMing for 16 years.
It's crazy.
16 years. Yeah.
Time flies, man.
Time flies.
Yeah. That was a huge era for gaming too. The 3.5, 3.0 and 3.5, and all the open gaming license stuff. There's so many different settings. There's... You just in my particular case, we just want to explore different worlds all the time, right? So we're not running long sessions anymore because another supplement comes out or a new publisher releases another genre, right? And
Yeah,
let's jump
exactly.
into another one. Yeah, so it's that was a great era for gaming for sure.
Emily's last question is, can you think of a video game meal that you would want to recreate in real life? For example, in BOTW, I should know what BOTW is. BOTW. Link. Oh, the one of the recent Zelda games.
Okay.
Link whips up all sorts of food and recipes like monster curry and wild berry recipes. Breath of the Wild. That's what it is. Yeah. Breath of the Wild. Goes to show how much Link games I've been playing lately, as I said. I do have an answer for this. It's kind of a cop-out, but I do have an answer for it.
Is it a Dragon Age answer?
Mm-mm.
Oh. I mean, the only ones I can think of are the Dragon Age ones. I hate to say this, but I need a nug.
You need nug? I would eat a nug, actually.
Nug, whatever pie. I know that the Dragon Age Inquisition books, like the source books you can buy, which I've been told are really hard to find now. Thank goodness I got them. But there's like pages in there that are the recipes. Now, they're fantastical recipes, so you could probably swap things out, you know? But the fact that they took the time to make recipes with nugs, I was like, yeah. Sorry, nug.
For me, I think I have to double check. I think it's... and if once I say the game, people are going to know exactly what I'm talking about.
Jeez.
Final Fantasy 15. Yes. Final Fantasy 15. Pretty much.
Am I looking? What do you mean? There's a what? No. There's not an actual list.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What?
There's a whole cooking.
What?
It's seeing the food rendered in the PlayStation 5. Like, these are actual pictures from the game. Like, it is...
Oh, yeah.
Look at these. These are... It's food porn.
That's delicious.
This is all food porn.
I don't even know what that is. It doesn't matter.
So, I'm trying to get the...
Shish kebab dishes?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Mm-hmm.
Who is the character who did all the cooking? Let me just look that up.
Oh, my God. Look at all the... Are you kidding? Wait, what do you mean? How you can make these in the game?
Yes.
Why do you make these? Why?
They give you bonuses. They give you in-game bonuses.
How did Okay. Wow.
Was it?
Oh my god.
Okay.
The effort they went through.
So the answer is...
That's funny.
However you want to edit this. The answer is in Final Fantasy 15, anything that Ignis cooks. Like anything.
Wow.
Just pick one. I will gladly cook whatever. So
I felt like I ate something like this, and it fell right off the bone. Like the veins popped in my mouth.
Like, look at that fish. Yeah. But yeah, pretty much the food porn of Final Fantasy 15 was ridiculous. And as a foodie, I was like,
the effort they went through.
This is all I want to do in this game is just unlock all the recipes and cook all of these meals. That's all I want to do.
Oh my god.
Because they gave you in-game bonuses. But it was just, and you actually got to see him, I think, do some of the cooking. I think I forgot, but
no, you made that up. That's like that came in.
Maybe I meant, maybe. I don't know.
You were dreaming one day.
I'm probably.
And it's like mashing all together now.
But it's probably a cop-out answer. But
is it though? I mean, that's a pretty good one. Because
it's literally anything you
like, they're edible. Like you can replace these pretty easily and pull it off.
And I'm sure somebody. Somebody
there's YouTube
has made every single one of those recipes.
And now that you search for that, you'll see.
I'm sure. Now that that's true, I will pop up.
You're going to get Final Fantasy 15.
Final Fantasy 15
cooking recipe
dishes.
Sorry.
Absolutely. So that's my answer for Emily. So thank you.
That's a good one. We're going to wrap it up, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. Everyone enjoyed our trip down some memory lanes, some random lanes, some derailment lanes.
Yep.
And that's how it goes with Hark and I pretty much all the time. Definitely. So don't forget to check out both our videos across the channels to get the full context of our awesome Q&A session with the community. And thank you everybody who submitted questions. We really appreciate it. It filled up our day with a lot of awesome discussions and pre and post discussions, I'm sure. So thank you everybody.
Love yourselves and love each other.
Don't forget to explore, engage, and inspire.